Okay, welcome to the Stan and Mario Show. This is our epilogue to our Satan episodes, parts 1 and 2. This is basically us trying to tell you about the movie that we said we were going to watch. Hail Satan! And it actually was pretty interesting, if I may say so.
It was interesting and quite funny to see the reaction from some of the more ignorant religious nutcases.
Yeah, to their rights, but don't actually want to give them to you.
Yeah.
So
you have all the rights you need as long as you believe the same things we do.
You forgot your intro.
I didn't forget. I didn't get a chance to give it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Buenas tardes. Sawadee krapum.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I'll make sure in the future to give your appropriate time slot to do that. So. Okay, so how do we? Can you summarize? First, it was a documentary.
It was a documentary, yeah. Not intended to be comical, I don't think, but it certainly ended up giving a few laughs to both of us.
Yeah, some of the things were quite funny. Although the people are quite serious about, what they're doing. They're not doing it as a joke. They're not doing it just to get a rise out of. Well, yeah, okay.
The last part.
The leader himself said that he was basically doing it to throw it in their face.
I think they all were. I mean, that's. I mean, when I saw it, it sort of confirmed what I suspected. But watching it, I was able to solidify my understanding a little better. It sort of coalesced in that I can pretty much say what I was thinking with more detail now that I've seen it, which is that the whole satanic movement, whether it's the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple, and Hail Satan was all about the Satanic Temple, it was not about the Church of Satan at all.
Correct.
Is that both of them are basically a protest. They do the satanic rituals, and they dress up, and they do their satanic dance, and they have black masses, but for the most part, they don't believe in Satan as some entity at all. It's all really to mock the church. It's all a mockery of the church, and
right.
It's all as a protest.
I mean, specifically the Catholic Church.
Specifically the Catholic Church, yeah. But also, it's also a protest to make sure that they get a separation of church and state.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that they have the same rights as anyone else, and the mockery of the church it's really not because they believe in Satan and they want to offend God. They're for the most part, they're atheists. It's more, you as Catholics are hypocrites. I mean, this is their opinion. I'm paraphrasing their opinion.
Right.
Is that you're hypocrites and you're overbearing with your laws and your beliefs, and you're not fair in the sense that you don't believe in equality for gays and lesbians. Or I should say, you're not believing in the church separation of church and state. You're trying to influence the state, is what I mean. And this was all a protest to throw that in their face and establish the separation and show the hypocrisy in Christianity. And the black masses that they hold are a parody of the Christian masses on purpose. Not because they actually believe they're going to summon the devil and they're not sacrificing anyone. And it's all intended as a mockery and an insult, and to get a rise out of them.
And in fact, when it got to the point where the head of one of their chapters did espouse harm against public officials, they had her removed.
She was advocating for his assassination.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And basically, the leader of the Satanic Temple said, "This is not what we're about, and
right.
This is too radical. We don't want to espouse violence in any way, even if they're, even if these are public figureheads that are completely against us and our rights." And so you had her removed.
Yeah. I also enjoyed that every state that had either put up or was going to put up a Ten Commandments, that they showed up with the Baphomet statue that they had created.
Right, and they insisted that
No.
the Ten Commandments had to be there.
Yeah,
If the Ten Commandments, because they were offered, they were asked, do you want to put it up if the church removes their Ten Commandments as a protest? Do you still
Right.
want to put up Baphomet? They said no. That's the whole idea, is to show
equality.
religious freedom,
Right.
and we want to make sure that the Ten Commandments are there. If the Ten Commandments are there, then we don't want Baphomet there.
Yeah, and it's very thoughtful because as we mentioned, or as I mentioned in the previous episodes, that Baphomet, herself, represents balance. Part man, part woman, part animal, part man. And wings and hooves. Flying and ground. So it's a balance, and that's what they were trying to achieve, a balance. You have your Ten Commandments, we have Baphomet. Why can't they coexist together?
Yeah, why can't they coexist? And at the same time, exactly, if we have the right, we don't, if we have the right, then you should have the right to put up your Ten Commandments. If you put up your Ten Commandments, we should have the right to put up Baphomet. So if you're not there in the form of the Ten Commandments, then we don't want to be there. There's no point. In fact, for them there was no point. The whole idea was to show, the whole idea was that, it's a balance. So we don't want Baphomet there if the Ten Commandments aren't there, because that also goes against the idea that we're protesting the Catholic Church and Christianity in general, as it is in the United States, for being oppressive, hypocritical, and unequal.
Yeah.
So there's their whole, besides balance, and of course it is balance, and equality, but there is just no point to put Baphomet up if the Ten Commandments aren't there, because the whole idea is to protest the church. I only glanced at the Satanic Bible many years ago. Didn't look very interesting, honestly, so I just didn't get around to reading it. You've kind of looked at it again recently.
I got through it's split into earth, wind, fire, and air, 4 parts. That's not the order of them. I believe that air is first, and air sort of reads like a mockery of the actual Bible, where you're in the book of Job and it's section 1 and the lines are numbered. This is sort of done in the same way, and the second section, I think it's fire, is in prose, so it's in paragraphs, and it's just basically, I don't want to call it a rant, but it's sort of just writing about what Satan represents and all that. As far as I got, it is very very easy to see and to sum up that what they're trying to do is achieve some level of hedonism.
I'm all for that.
Yeah. Anarchy.
Yeah, that's okay.
There's a little bit of anarchy in there, although it's anarchy that doesn't hurt anyone specifically. And
come on, there's got to be some people that they can hurt. I mean, some people are assholes.
And basically atheism.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that's it. I mean, that's basically the
atheism.
The summary.
So basically, do they? I mean, you've read it. Do they? I mean, when you say atheism, clearly, to take a line out of Rosemary's Baby, how can we believe in the devil and not believe in God? How can you believe in the devil without believing in God? Without one, there is not the other.
Well, you can, and that's why Satan is just a figurehead.
Right, but do they say that explicitly in the book, that basically they're atheists and this is all? I mean,
it's basically saying that there is no God. There's only the here and the now.
Right, but if you say there is no God, you're saying there is no Satan.
Right, which is why they're using Satan as a representation. Again, there's not explicit, as far as I could tell, there's not explicit explanation, as far as I got, that says this is why we're using Satan as
right. But do they
figurehead.
explicitly say that he doesn't exist and that they are atheists?
No, it's just a rejection of all things God.
Okay, including the statement that he doesn't exist.
Correct.
But they do say atheist somewhere, do they not?
I
do they not
I do not remember seeing the word atheist or atheist.
Because I mean that's a bit silly. If they actually, we know that they don't, but if they actually really truly believe that their black masses are an homage to Satan or a summoning of Satan, and Satan really exists, then you have to believe in the antithesis, which is God.
Yeah, I didn't, in watching Hail Satan, I didn't see the black mass as I just saw it as a mockery of religion. No, that's what I'm saying is, but I don't see it as a worshiping of Satan, you know.
No, and that's what they, we know that, and that's what they said in Hail Satan. I'm just wondering if these things are they explicitly stated in some way in the Satanic Bible?
I did not see them explicitly stated or read them.
As I mentioned to you before we went on camera, I downloaded the Satanic Bible probably 10 or 15 years ago, and I did a little bit of research into Anton LaVey and so on. I honestly, I can't remember. It might have been even 20 years ago. And I came across another one that I downloaded called The Devil's Bible, of which I have not read, still have the book, but Anton LaVey is not one of the authors. And I don't know, I am curious to look into this more than the Satanic Bible.
If I get the short version of what people are trying to say, that's usually where I stop and I don't do.
Does anyone out there have a Sean's outline of the Satanic Bible and the Devil's Bible?
Yeah, just give me the outline version and I'm happy. But I'm reading and I'm comprehending and I'm going, oh, okay, this fits into this concept. This fits into so you're anarchical hedonists that don't believe in God. You're atheists. Oh, okay, I'm done with that.
the ironic thing to all this, and what really made Hail Satan funny, and anybody seeing it, anybody who watches the movie will get this right away.
Yeah.
The ironic thing is that the Christians in the movie, for the most part, I won't say every Christian, the ones that are in the documentary, act with complete and utter ignorance and hatred, which is exactly the reaction that the Satanists want to provoke, show that you are ignorant and full of hate. You, when I say you, I don't mean every viewer here, but obviously the ones that appeared in the documentary. And I have friends who are devout Christians, and I know they would react that way. Yeah. And it's funny because they react with anger. I'm interchanging they and you here, and forgive me for that. And yet, this is exactly what they're trying to show. And it's so ignorant because you're showing that you don't understand the concept. They don't actually truly believe they're worshiping the devil. They do this as a mockery, deliberately to provoke you. And this is what you're reacting exactly as they want. And in the process, showing your bias, your hatred, and your ignorance, and your hatred for things you don't understand.
Yeah, I don't think that if you're going to have free thought and acceptance of the right of people to say what they want to say, that you can be 100% indoctrinated. You can have a level of indoctrination. For example, I'll listen to what anybody says, but I have my core beliefs, and it's going to take a lot to rock them. You're going to have to come up with something so profound that it just stuns me, and for days I'm thinking about nothing but that, because I'm contemplating redefining my core beliefs. So I have a level that's not 100% indoctrination. So I can listen to somebody and go, that's interesting. I'm going to just give you an example. I was at the local hypermarket here, Big C, and I had my mask on, and this German guy is using Google Translate to ask me why I'm wearing my mask, you know. What
the fuck does he care? It's your business.
Well, that's what went through my head is, but I'm going to be polite and okay, you know, why are you wearing the mask?
We're in Thailand. The Asians wear masks.
I said, everybody else is wearing a mask.
You just don't want to have a problem. So.
Exactly. That's what I said. I said it avoids problems. Everybody's wearing a mask. And he was like, don't you know they cause cancer? In 5 countries they cause cancer. And I was like, and he started naming the countries, and I was like, oh, Thailand's not one of them. I guess I'm okay. But this guy basically had 100% anti-mask indoctrination.
And that's fine. He doesn't have to wear one. By law, you don't have to wear
one. Exactly. And that's the point of what I'm saying is you can't argue with someone like that.
Oh, you're right, you can't.
Because he's an evangelist for anti-mask wearing.
And there are atheists like that. There are evangelists for atheists.
And there are people at all extremes, you know, from the pro-maximum to the anti-maximum. And so those people that you were talking about in Hail Satan that were just, you know, getting all irritated, they're 100% indoctrinated.
Well,
They'll never believe in anybody's free speech that violates their 100% core indoctrinated
I
beliefs.
think that's probably true in 90% of them.
Yeah.
But there's probably 10% of that group, of that specific Christian evangelical group that hate the Satanists. Let's say 10. I'm just pulling this figure out of my ass, okay?
Yeah.
But they probably, I mean, they're indoctrinated in the sense that they simply don't understand what Satanism is about. And I'm not trying to promote it in any way. I mean, we've both looked into this, and neither of us is Satanists or want to bother with this. But probably if 10% of those people were actually informed, or I don't want to enlightened, I use the word very lightly in this case, enlightened, let's say became less ignorant or educated themselves, and said, okay, Satanism isn't about harming children and making sacrifices and conjuring up demons and and they actually read it and see, as we saw, that okay, these people are protesting something, they want equality, and this is their way of expressing it.
Sure.
I may not agree with that way, but they're not actually harming anyone. 10% of those Christian evangelists, and again, I'm pulling the number out of my head, it might be 5, it might be 20, it might be 25, it might be 2, I don't know. But let's say 10, might actually say, okay, I don't agree with it, but I understand it, and I'm just not going to get angry over it anymore because they're not harming anyone, and actually by getting angry, I'm only feeding into their cause anyway. The other 90%, again, arbitrary number, is exactly like you said. You'll never be able to debate with them. You'll never be able to convince them because they're always right, and they're not about equality in the first place.
Right. And the other thing is that someone who's 100% indoctrinated, just the suggestion of reading the Satanic Bible.
Oh yeah, that would be offensive.
Well, not just offensive, but why would I do that? I have the Word of God. You see, so it's like I'm not only am I going to be, ignorant, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be ignorant. And
I'm going to tell you that you're ignorant, even though I'm ignorant.
Exactly.
It's
I'm going to argue from
ignorance.
my point of ignorance because I don't want to see your side of the coin, right? For lack of a better description. I see my side of the coin, and it's right because I'm 100% indoctrinated.
I mean, I come from a Catholic family. I was never a religious one myself. My mother's extremely religious. She's from Spain, and they're very Catholic, and she's in her 80s. She's very Catholic. And so here I am, somebody that was baptized Christian, never really followed it myself, kind of believing there might be a God. I was always kind of an agnostic, even as a child. I guess it was just, I always just kind of want to be left alone and do my own thing. But the door was always open, and I have prayed, and I have been to churches, and I don't have anything against people practicing their religion. I'm not an evangelist atheist. But I would urge you, for the sake of enlightening yourself, to watch a documentary or 2, as I have, or 3, on Satanists in Satanists such as the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple. Maybe read the Satanic Bible. Just look at it as something to read. Be objective. Don't look at it. You're not going to be convinced by reading it. You're not going to become a demon. You're not going to become a zombie. You're not going to be entranced. You're not going to be convinced to change your faith. You're not going to be conjuring demons. You're not going to be cursing anyone. You're not going to be cursing anything. It's not magical. There's nothing going to happen to you. There's no corruption of your soul to read the book. Just read it, not for the sake of opening yourself up to becoming a Satanist. I'm not a Satanist, and I have read parts of it. Just read it so that you know what they are, what these people are, and what they aren't. And what they aren't is a bunch of baby murdering, sacrifice offering, violent people who drink blood. There probably are a handful of lone wolf, corrupt nutcases out there who do this in the name of Satan somewhere.
But those people are usually, met within the organized, I don't want to call it a church, but within the organized group, they're met very harshly. It's not something they can do.
They're met with harshly because don't forget, this is a modern thing. This is something that was started in the 20th century. This is not stuff that, comes back from the time of Dante.
Well, only Baphomet himself.
Well, what I mean
and he had a whole different...
What I mean is these organizations are a modern product. They're a modern construct, and they're trying to promote openness, equality, a little bit of hedonism, and a bit of anarchy as well. You may not agree with that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to like them. But understand that these particular groups in modern society are not actually devil worshippers. They do that as a facade and as a way of protest, but they aren't actually worshiping the devil. They're not actually trying to conjure anything. They're not actually... Baphomet really, like you said, was probably a...
No, it was a symbol of balance.
It was a symbol of balance. Was it not? Was Baphomet not a paganist symbol? A symbol, yes. Pagan. He was a paganist symbol.
It may have been a pagan symbol or symbol, but it was. I believe it occurred before the Templars used it.
Templars, which means it would have been pagan.
It's probably pagan. The Templars used it as a symbol of balance, and it can be found where their buildings are. It was found in the Crusades, in the areas where the Templars were for the Crusades. It's again, symbols change, and it doesn't take that long. If you went back to the time of Shakespeare, when Shakespeare was writing Hamlet, a bodkin, in his soliloquy, he mentions a bodkin. A bodkin back then was basically a thin-bladed, double-edged, what we would call a stiletto now. Nowadays, a bodkin is a long hairpin. So the name attached to the actual device has changed.
Well, sure, language
and
changes
symbols,
over time.
and symbols as well change what they're used for. I'm sure I could, come up with a bunch more. Well, we don't even have to go that far back. The swastika from World War II originated as an Indian religious symbol. Originated as an Indian.
Let's clarify. Not an Indian religious symbol, but a Buddhist religious symbol.
Okay, but certainly long before the 30s, the 1930s.
Oh, long before.
So that symbol was taken and was twisted into what it was used for.
Be careful, you're gonna get in trouble.
So
you're gonna piss somebody off.
Well, it's not pissing me off, but But again, this is the whole thing. If you can't look at it objectively as a symbol that's taken and transformed from one design to the other, then you've missed the whole point of this. Just stop watching the video and go watch some other YouTube. Go watch Mr. Beast. He needs more money. So.
No. I want everyone to watch. I want everyone, and I don't say that just for the views. I'm hoping. Look, if and again, by saying this, I'm not condoning, endorsing, or recommending anyone become a Satanist. Okay, not at all. And I'm not one.
No, we're just saying have an open mind.
Have an open mind. So I want the people that you're saying who didn't get it yet to still watch, because maybe one person will. And if one person does, and they open up to the idea of a bit of equality and fairness, without accepting Satanism, without it, don't do that if you don't want to, but having a little understanding, it'll improve at least two people's lives. Two, I say two because it'll improve your life by removing this ignorance and arrogance from you, and possibly at least one other person that you interact with, and not just a Satanist, but I mean anyone. Just keep an open mind that, you know, religion, it can be very oppressive, especially when it doesn't open it's not open to other people's rights. I mean, they say something very interesting in Hail Satan. There's one story there repeated by someone who became a Satanist. He was Catholic, and I remember he was a young guy, and he was saying that you know, he was in school and the teacher was telling this great story about someone who had saved lives and been a wonderful person, but he was still going to hell because he wasn't a Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
that's, yeah.
And then you're going to hell because you're not a Muslim. And the Muslim's going to hell because he's not a Christian. And the Jew's going to hell because, well, he's neither Christian nor Muslim. And, you know, and the Buddhists are going to go to hell because they're nice people, but they're neither Jew nor Christian. I mean,
so
what the fuck?
So
Come
wait.
on.
Are we all going to hell?
Well, I know for sure I am. For sure. For sure.
So, all right.
Not for this, but, you know, other hedonistic reasons.
I think we've beat up Hail Satan.
Well, we beat up Hail Satan, but there was something else to mention here. I wanted to get into one of my dear friends. He's a close friend. He's a devout Catholic, and he never pushed his religion on me, which is why we were able to stay friends. And we talked about it once, and he says, "Well, you know, I don't know how it came up. At one point, he mentioned it, and I said, well, you know, what I like about you is that you're not, you know, doing the Vegan thing with me. We're telling me I should be Christian and Catholic. I mean, yes, I was baptized, but I don't practice. And at that time, I hadn't looked into the Church of Satan or anything. And it was before I moved to Asia, so I hadn't, you know, become a Buddhist. I consider myself, if there's any religion I have, it would be Buddhism. But even then, I do the meditation, and I agree with certain beliefs of theirs, but I don't believe in karma or reincarnation or a lot of the, I wouldn't say supernatural, but more faith-based aspects to Buddhism. I'm not into that. And certainly not the Thai and Laotian versions, which involve rituals and monks and incense.
And animism.
And animism, which is, oh yeah, a lot of that, which is much more of a religious aspect. The real Buddhism, I mean, I did meditation under Goenka a number of times. We may do a video on that. Is more about the method and the technique of meditation with some karma and consequence to your actions and afterlife added to it, or reincarnation specifically. But that's not the focus. The focus is on the meditation technique and the benefits it brings to you and to other people, and living a good life and respecting other people. And I'm okay with that.
The middle road.
Well, they don't call it that, but
the middle way.
Either way, it's, you know, I agree with that belief. So if there's any religion, that's what I have. Anyway, I talked with this friend, and that's what I said. I said, you're not pushing it on me. However, there was one incident I remember, and it made me laugh. It came right after a movie I saw, and I can't remember which movie, but there was a line in the movie where, we'll put that in the sub, I'll find it. Somebody had said, just because you don't believe in the devil doesn't mean he doesn't exist. And my friend didn't see the movie with me. He had no idea I'd seen it. And being a Catholic, he was talking about the devil. We were in the car. For some reason, I can't remember. He was talking about the devil or Satan. And it's not something he always talks about, but it happened this one day. And I just looked at him and said, you know, I'm not worried about it. And he looked at me very angrily. Just because you don't believe in him doesn't mean he doesn't exist, you know, Mario.
Just because you don't believe in him doesn't mean he doesn't exist, you know, Mario.
Up and go, wow, you're right. Because I don't believe in him doesn't mean he doesn't exist. Therefore, I'm going to start going to church every Sunday.
Because I don't believe in him doesn't mean he doesn't exist. Therefore, I'm going to start going to church every Sunday.
I mean, if you want to believe that he exists, or even if he does exist, how is this relevant to whether I believe in him or not? You won't believe in him if you want. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah. I've sort of come to believe that I'm a deist. There's a God. God set things in motion, and shit happens. Shit happens the way it happens. And, deism falls in there. It's in that number 3. You know, that we were talking about.
That would be the
range.
lean the other way.
Yeah.
So on the scale of 1 to 7 on the Richard Dawkins scale.
Yeah.
So 7 being full on atheist and 0 being full on evangelical Christian or believer in God.
Yeah.
Or a God. I'm a 4, so I lean slightly towards the atheism.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you were to ask me flat out, do you think there's a God? Probably not. Do I think there's some supernatural force that created the universe? Probably not. You know, could be. Maybe one day we find something. I doubt very much. I'm almost certain it's not like the Christian or the Muslim or the Jewish belief that some old man with a beard up there is listening to every prayer and, you know, putting people into hell. And I have a real problem with that concept.
Well, and they'll tell you that that's not the case. But you know, pray. Then I don't understand praying to God. If
that's one hell of an intercom he's got, if you can listen to all these channels at once.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
What I do have respect for is the more modern popes. Certainly the old ones, and I mean even the Catholics can't deny it. Previous popes, there were a number of popes that were sadistic, child molesting, rapist, lying sociopaths. They were complete monsters with all the mighty power of the church. Horrible people. And that's one of the things that the Satanists are trying to prove and show is the hypocrisy and the evil that a lot of the things that have happened because of the Catholic Church. But anyway,
he said that, not me.
Well, I'm not saying the Catholic Church is evil. I'm saying that horrible, terrible events have happened because of evil people in the church. They can't deny it. They might if they want to, but really it's a fact.
Yeah.
The Catholic Church has caused wars, genocides, murders, and so have other religions. Okay, but Catholic Church is one of.
You think Archduke Ferdinand was an inside job?
Oh, I don't know.
It was the start of
that's not
World
really
War I.
It was the start of World War, but that's not really a religious issue. Yeah.
And
So
where
I mean, I having ranted on about that, I just don't see there being a creator or believing in multiple gods as you would in the Marvel universe or the pagans, the way the pagans do, believing in the tree god or the way the Native Americans did in some god of water or something, the great wolf god, or I just don't believe in any god. We may well find that
you're gonna burn in.
We may find that perhaps long after I'm gone, or have been reincarnated into a toad or a maggot or something, that some supernatural entity is responsible for the universe or a lot of things that have happened in the universe or some aspects to the universe. But he's not listening to your prayers, or maybe it's a she or some other gender, is not listening to your prayers, doesn't really give a fuck about your life, isn't going to help you out, and may or may not have some benevolent intent, but isn't sitting there saying, oh, little Johnny wants a new fire truck for Christmas, and he's been really good, and he prays and he goes to church.
Hey, you're sounding like a Satanist.
That's fine. And if it helps you, pray. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Pray. If it helps you overcome difficulty in your life, pray. I don't think Richard Dawkins is right either. He's as evangelical about his atheism as the worst Christian nut out there. I mean, he's horrible. I don't think he's a horrible person, but he's just so angry when people don't agree with him. He's just so, you believe in it. You believe that, I mean, he believes in atheism in the sense that this is the way to go, and religion is bad and unhelpful. That's fine.
He has as little proof as the religious person has.
Well, yeah, I would think there's more proof on the side of atheism than any kind of religion. But the point being is,
well, no, it takes a measure of faith to believe that there is nothing.
Well, I don't dispute that, but I would say that there's more evidence of the non-existence of God than the evidence of existence of God. There isn't
Then the religious person is going to say that the only way you're going to know is to transition to either the kingdom of heaven or hell.
I couldn't care less what they say. The point being that just don't force your views on other people. Don't force them. Try to convince them, by all means. Show them the evidence, but don't try to shove your view up their ass. Whether you're Catholic or Protestant or a Jew or a Muslim or a Buddhist or an atheist or a Satanist, just don't shove your view up other people's ass and force it there. Just leave them alone.
It's not going to happen.
As long as they're not hurting anybody, some religions do, leave them alone. Let them think what they want.
It's not going to happen.
If they want to be in ignorance, let them be ignorant.
It's human nature to look and say, you need to be like me. The next time we make a video, you need to be wearing a Bangkok shirt like me.
It's human nature, but we can combat it. We have sentience, we have intelligence, we have cognitive abilities. We can resist.
You have cognitive abilities. Not everyone, which we were talking about earlier.
Oh, that's so true.
Not everyone has cognitive abilities, right? Some people can't get through the first layer of the onion.
No, this is true, but some can.
And therein lies the catch. The first layer of people are those that need the indoctrination. Look, the purpose of all religion is to calm fears about what happens when you die. That's ultimately the
I don't think that's the ultimate reason. That is certainly,
you think about
every
one of
its
religion,
purposes.
That is the ultimate religion. Look, think a long time ago, when people freaked out that they were going to die, someone tell them, it's okay, I'll see you later when I die. And that was the first religion. Some dude got bit by an animal, was going to die, and the guy said, when I get bit and I die, it's very simplistic.
It's a bit simplistic.
I'm making it very simplistic, but that's the ultimate goal of religion, is so that you don't focus every waking hour about dying, and that you can go through a normal life looking at life knowing that there is somewhere for me to go when I transition from being alive to dead.
I just love it. I just love it when
and it doesn't matter what religion it is.
Even to family members, when they're saying, well, what if this happens and what if that happens, and what about, it doesn't matter, some material aspect of the world, something that's physical, and I'll be like, when I'm dead, I won't give a shit. But I mean, like, once I'm dead, I won't give a shit. I won't care. I don't believe in the afterlife. If anything, if there's any kind of afterlife, it's the Buddhist way, in my opinion, where I'll be reincarnated into something, like a maggot, or maybe a leech, or a caterpillar, or a centipede or something. I'm sure that's the way I'll go.
A fly that hangs around Somtam restaurants.
I'll probably be reincarnated. I was gonna say manure, but that's even better.
Like, share, subscribe. It really helps with Al Gore's rhythm.